Welcome to the Givology Impact Series podcast, where we highlight the journeys and stories of organizations making a meaningful impact in education. Givology is a global online giving platform dedicated to making quality education accessible to all. Operated entirely by volunteers, Givology focuses on transparency, impact, and the belief that small contributions can collectively make a big difference in shaping the future of education. I'm Shravika, and I will be your host today. Mr. and Mrs. Narla, representatives of Chetana Foundation, a nonprofit organization that originated in Portland and expanded across continents, are joining me today. Chetana aspires to strengthen and cultivate inclusivity within disadvantaged communities by making education more accessible and eliminating barriers to essential resources. Chetana also helps in sectors like hunger relief, environmental conservation, and empowering underrepresented communities. They orchestrate school supply drives, backpack drives, and brown bag lunches, and so much more. Srilata Narla has been volunteering in the local DMV area for over 10 years, individually in providing home-cooked meals to homeless shelters in Maryland, Reston, Manassas, and distributed winter gear in DC. For over 4 years back, she volunteered for Chetana as a coordinator for the DMV area of VA, MD, and DC. She's also volunteered at the local fire station. She's been in the DMV area for about 20 years and working full-time as an IT consultant, while volunteering is her hobby and passion in her after hours and weekends. Sivit Narla has been volunteering with Srilata and serving the community as needed by making meals, driving, and assisting in moving supplies. It has been a labor of love to help communities in need as a family. For more information, visit Chetana Foundation at chetanaus.org or email dcmetro@chetanaus.org. Welcome, Ms. Srilata and Mr. Siva, to our podcast series. Thank you for joining us today. So for my first question, could you tell us more about the mission of Chetana Foundation and how it works to fulfill this vision?
Hi, Shravika. This is Srilata. First, let me thank you for doing this. This is a great way to present ourselves, reaching out to the community. Um, Coming to your question, um, Chetana's mission is to help disadvantaged communities fight hunger, overcome challenges to education, conserve environment, and empower underrepresented communities.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, go on.
We're going to be tag teaming, so you will see two sides, or rather two sets of points. I mean, this is Siva Narlat. I mean, I do echo Srilata's thanks to Givology as well as to you, Shravika, for taking the time to introduce Chetana. Chetana does all of what Srilata has mentioned in terms of helping communities. It also does this with no discrimination. It is for all genders, all ages, races, religion, countries, linguistic groups, abilities or disabilities, as well as sexual orientation. So it is totally geared towards serving all communities and with free of discrimination.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, what are some of the challenges faced by the communities you serve? And how does Chetana Foundation address these challenges to improve education, healthcare, or vocational opportunities?
Hunger, or more specifically, access to nutritious food, is one problem faced by the poor and seniors where we serve. Homeless people in here need clothing, accessories, and face the due to the winter weather in DMV region, in addition to food. In India, girls also face greater challenges due to lack of access to education that is also safe.
So in terms of vocational opportunities, which was the other part of the question, Chetana does try to provide the means to physically disabled to become a enabled as well as employed. So it's a double hurdle for those who are differently abled or physically disabled, as well as unemployed, to reach both states of ability as well as employment. So Chetana tries to overcome the first step, which is overcome the abilities, and it takes the communities one step closer to then being employed through vocational opportunities. Healthcare is another challenge Chetana fights by providing safer water, nutritious food, and masks, whether it is during major pandemics or during normal times. It is through continuous empowerment.
Yeah, I know how hunger and education and people with disabilities often struggle a lot in our world. So thank you so much for coming up with opportunities and helping those in need. Okay, so how does Chetana Foundation specifically support women, children, or underrepresented groups in accessing resources and opportunities that help them build a better future?
So each community based on the region or the country we serve different problems. For example, in India, young women wanted a bicycle to be able to safely go to school. And Chetana Foundation purchased bicycles and distributed them to the school going girls. Otherwise, these girls would have dropped out of school for lack of safeties. School bags, books, exam kits, digital classes, laptops, solar lamps are some of the other examples of what Chetana Foundation has provided in India. Similarly, hunger is universal. Access to nutritious food is a challenge for economically disadvantaged in US and in India. For example, Chetana has distributed nutritious food in US with support from Panera that is left over at the end of the day that would have been wasted otherwise. So we end of the day, like once a week, we go pick up the bread and drop them off in the shelters.
In addition, I think, Chetana has also many similar programs where it rises to the occasion, such as during COVID. It provided over 50,000 meals, 1,700 masks, tens of thousands of gloves, groceries to 25,000 people in India. In the DMV area, Chetana Foundation has provided winter kits to homeless, which included winter coats, gloves, hats, and socks. Chetana also provides on a regular basis fresh food to seniors in the DMV area, such as an elderly home in Middleburg, as good food is the best healthcare. And last but not least, Chetana empowers people with different abilities or economic disadvantages by helping them access vocations that would otherwise be a bigger challenge. For example, 1,500 plus prosthetic limbs, 1,500 plus sewing machines, and more than 3,000 wheelchairs and tricycles have been distributed over the course of the history of Chetana Foundation in India. These were directly helping those individuals overcome their disabilities, but more importantly, empowering them.
Wow, that's so inspirational. And in regards to women, I know there's so many barriers as to how they can receive their education. So, like the bicycles can really help them out to help them get more opportunities and grow. In addition to providing nutritional food, which, like you said, is healthcare, that's also really inspirational as you're impacting many lives and helping them see more light in the darkness. Additionally, the prosthetic limbs is actually very unique and so important. And there's such a huge community that many people might not be able to have opportunities because of their disabilities. But with your guys' help, you're impacting many lives. And that is very inspirational. Okay, next, could you share an impactful story or moment from your time with the foundation that illustrates the difference Chetana has made in someone's life?
There isn't one story, but I have several small incidents where we found the value in service. For example, in counties such as Loudon, with a good income and safety being the usual, we found several underprivileged households in need of lunches for kids that were both nutritious and tasty. By partnering with Panera, we could deliver the bread and pastries to the households that were used to pack lunches for their kids for the whole week.
Such similar stories where it is contradictory to common sense, but it is quite unusual. Like we found that in Middleburg, and usually an affluent town, there was a demand for seniors living in senior homes needing food that was not just in cans, but fresh food, fresh, normal, healthy food that would otherwise be out of reach. So, as a foundation, we found that volunteers were willing and able to contribute, and then Chetana Foundation was able to deliver those on a consistent basis, where those hundreds of pounds of food was going towards a quality of life improvement to a community that was hidden in an affluent town like Middleburg, for example.
It's great you guys are minimizing waste management, especially for donating the leftover bread that would have been thrown out from Panera. And additionally, it's also really cool that you guys found a hidden community where you can also help by providing fresh food instead of cans. So overall, you guys are making a huge difference in many people's lives, regardless of demographics or age groups. Okay, so what role does community involvement play in the work for Chaitanya Foundation? How do you engage local leaders, families, and volunteers to ensure a lasting impact?
So Chetana service is only possible due to the community of volunteers. Local families and businesses are engaged in every level. Families, including school-going children, are involved in all volunteer activities, such as making sandwiches. Basically, they prepare the brown bag lunches with uh, all sorts of snacks and turkey sandwiches, distributing bread, making fresh meals. These are the only few things that volunteers help us with. And several families choose to donate money uh, and time to celebrate their birthdays, anniversaries, or other significant milestones. The families then spend the time and money making sandwiches and serving meals to homeless or other causes as a celebration.
So, all of this community involvement is then augmented with an occasional fundraising breakfast and other events. And I think these need to reach out to the greater part of the community than we have been. So we also want to thank Givology in giving us this opportunity, as such local activities need an audience. And we think these events would be more successful with a broader audience. Thank you.
It's great how you guys engage volunteers and overall make a huge difference with everyone. The community is very important. So the Chaitanya Foundation often works in US and India. How do the unique needs of these areas influence your approach to the program design and implementation?
So Chetana Foundation identifies needs that the community uh, asks for and addresses them, whether in India or in US. So when a community in India is looking for prosthetic limbs to help differently disabled people have access to jobs, then Chetana raises money for that cause specifically or helps in other ways.
Similarly, Chaitanya also raises money or funds winter accessories in reaction to the homelessness and the coming of winter. So it's always a looking for fulfilling the needs of the community in a hyper local and a focused way, and then seeking volunteers to contribute, and we have been very blessed.
Yeah, it's great how you guys identify specific issues and target those in order to help the majority of the population. I think that's very inspirational, and you guys are making a huge impact on every and people's lives. So, education is often a key pillar in lifting communities out of poverty. Could you share some of the foundation's key accomplishments in improving access to education and creating sustainable opportunities for students?
So we gave school bags, books, exam kits, digital classes, laptops, solar lamps, are some of the examples of what has been provided in India to enable access to education and tools. At other times, several children whose need for transportation was preventing them from going to school were provided bicycles, tricycles, and so forth.
In the US, several families have received food to pack lunches for kids by redistributing the food, as well as in terms of education, there have been drives where the Chetana Foundation has distributed entire backpacks with all the supplies needed at the beginning of the school year. It has done this in a focused way for local communities in the schools.
Yeah, you guys are making such a huge impact in children's lives and giving them an education that will help them get more opportunities and help them have more positive outcomes when going to school and associated with education. So many nonprofits face resource constraints. How does Chetana Foundation effectively use partnerships, volunteers, and donor support to scale its program and achieve its goals?
The Chetana is purely supported by volunteers donating time and sponsors um, donate sponsors money as well. Volunteers across DMV support by donating their time for activities in DMV as an example.
So in terms of the constraints, and I mean, without the sponsors and without the volunteers, I think none of these activities would be possible. Um, the constraints we are designed to overcome are based upon reaching out to the community with specific needs and only taking up those that we can. However, there are still other good deeds or good or gaps in the community that may not be served as we may not have enough resources. So it's always a constraint, but it is a challenge. No, I mean, and it needs focus even more. So more volunteers and more sponsors would help us reach a greater audience.
Yeah, it's very evident how much volunteers can impact a community and help with a nonprofit. It's also really amazing how you guys connect so many individuals and create communities in order to help the greater population. So, how does Chaitanya Foundation evaluate its success and effectiveness of its program?
So success in the volunteer programs is measured in terms of direct impact to the community and its sustainability over time.
And we at Chetana are incredibly lucky to have achieved both in the limited events that we have tried, even if I mean, activities have been limited to certain specific locations. So where the community has risen and where it has found the synergy, I think we have been very focused and we are able to provide consistent service. So it's all dependent on the community again.
Yeah, Chaitanya Foundation is so successful in helping so many lives that it's very effective in helping the greater population. So, a unique aspect of your foundation is providing backpacks, school supply drives, and resources to underprivileged students, and so much more. Please tell us more about these initiative operations and impact so far.
So we have been providing backpacks, the school supplies for the underprivileged students um, from last 4 years in DC metro area and back in India. So every year a lot of volunteers come in, and we go to Walmart, buy supplies all together. Sometimes we raise money to get to buy the supplies, and we pack everything in the backpack. And from last few years we have been going to the underprivileged communities. Like last year we went to Middleburg area, and like 4 neighborhoods in Middleburg area, and a couple of neighborhoods in Loudoun County. And like we distributed all the school supplies, which that's the more impact we have been doing as a whole.
Yeah, and I think one of the key aspects of this is that sometimes there is not a single community that we know has a need, but when we express our abilities, this is one of those where the ability to provide something gave us a clear indication of who needs it. And the more important aspect is it takes a tremendous amount of time to assemble these, shopping for everything as simple as a set of pencils, pencil boxes and books and everything, and then packing them all neatly into a backpack. Multiply that over 100 backpacks or so. It takes a tremendous amount of time. So we've been very privileged in that volunteers were willing to also spend time, not just money, where it was a community effort that needed to be, so that the children at the end got a complete pack that could serve them for the entire, I mean, for at least the start of the school year in a complete manner.
And
Thank
we
you.
also supported like elementary schools and middle schools around this area.
Thank you so much for sharing. You guys are making a huge impact for children, and it's really going to benefit them in the rest of their educational journey and their lives. So, looking ahead, what are some of Chetana Foundation's goals and plans for the future? Are there any exciting new projects or initiatives in the pipeline?
So first off, we would like to thank all the volunteers and sponsors for the activities we have been doing to date. For the future, we would like to encourage the local community as it's growing in numbers and prosperously to get more involved in teaching the value of service to the next generation.
Yeah, and in terms of teaching the value of service, I think one of the key things that we all need to understand is that the best education and the best life lesson that we can pass on to our children is teaching them the value of service. I do believe children are enriched as well as more productive in their social lives when they understand the value of service.
Yeah, that's so inspirational. Not only are you impacting today's generation, you guys are going to impact so many generations after us. And the value of serving is going to spread on and overall make our world a better place. So thank you again for being part of that. So volunteering is essential to Givology's mission. How does the Chetana Foundation engage with volunteers, and what advice would you give to those looking to get involved?
Chetana Foundation believes that the children and parents are the key to ensuring a volunteer organization flourish and grow. School-age children, mainly they need volunteer hours as part of regular school. So we would like to make it rewarding and hands-on, so that we would basically like to invite future generation to come and volunteer with us.
Yeah, and there is no better way to educate them without lecturing by showing them by example. Those children actually understand by interacting with the activities and creating a tangible benefit. You see a packed lunch, you see a set of books, you see homeless people being given meals in a very dignified way. It helps bridge that gap, and it also helps them understand that not everything in life should be taken for granted. Those less privileged are not there sometimes by any design, they're just by accident. So the children understand that privilege or good life is not an entitlement, but something that everybody should work for and cherish. So it is an education by example and an education as a live example of life.
Yeah, such a great way to engage more volunteers and teach them of the value of what they're doing and how they can impact so many people. So, to end, what message would you like to share with listeners who are passionate about social change and want to join meaningful causes like Chetana Foundation?
So we would like to encourage the community to find causes that they believe in passionately. We want volunteers to come up with ideas to serve, and let's make them come to life. We would like all the volunteers and the community to come together to help and give back.
And giving is actually one of the most fulfilling thing from a giver's perspective as well. There is no barrier to entry to service, nor there is any limitation to the joy and fulfillment that giving actually provides to an individual or to a community. So our message is we as a community can do a lot more. And if you all have ideas, come to us. We can help create avenues to make those ideas come to life.
Thank you. That was such an amazing initiative and message you guys shared with the world. And this way, so many people can have whatever ideas they want and bring it to life. And as a community, we can all help everyone. So
Thank
thank
you
you so
again for the
much. Yeah.
opportunity that you have provided through Givology to Chetana Foundation. Anything to end, close it, Srilata?
I don't have anything. That's thank you for doing this, Shravika. And we are very lucky to have this kind of interview.
Well,
And,
thank
and
you
thank
so
you,
much.
Joyce, as well.